you're weak. Don't deny it. You've been hiding behind your own excuses for too long. You thought you were untouchable, but reality is coming for you. Every single day you wake up and tell yourself, not today, or I'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. What have you built? What have you accomplished? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Do you think you're special? Do you think you're somehow immune to the same fate that's waiting for everyone who doesn't step up? You thought you were a king, didn't you? You walked around with your chest puffed out, believing the world owed you something. Well, guess what? The world doesn't owe you shit. You think you're the exception. Nah. You're just like everyone else, lost in the chaos of comfort. The comfort that will bury you. The comfort that tells you can slack off. That you can relax. That you can wait. But it's killing you. You don't have the luxury of time. Time is not your friend, it's your enemy. And you've been squandering it like a fool. The clock is ticking. And with every second you waste, the distance between where you are and where you could be grows wider. But you've convinced yourself that you'll just catch up later, right? No, you won't. Let me be clear, every day you waste is a day closer to your grave. And I'm not talking about physical death. No, I'm talking about the death of your dreams, the death of your ambition, the death of everything you said you wanted to achieve. Every time you lay in bed, every time you skip a workout, every time you push that goal aside, you're digging your own grave, and you're doing it with your own hands. You've been living in a fantasy, thinking that you're exempt from consequences, that the laws of life don't apply to you. But the truth is, life doesn't give a damn about your excuses, your comfort zone, or your pity party. The only thing life respects is power action, and if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. That's the truth. That's the only truth that matters. Look at where you are. Do you see results? No. Do you feel accomplished? Hell no, because you've been playing the game wrong. You thought you could coast through life, that somehow things would fall into place. But let me tell you this, the universe doesn't work that way. You're not some exception to the rule. Karma's hitmen don't care who you are, what you think you deserve, or how special you feel. Karma is coming, and you can't hide from it. You've been living in a lie, thinking you could cheat the system, but guess what? Karma's got a way of tracking down everyone who's too lazy, too scared, or too weak to step up. Karma doesn't forget. It takes what's owed. And right now, you're being hunted. Karma's hitmen don't make deals. They don't negotiate. They don't give second chances. You want to stay where you are? Fine. Keep fooling yourself. But mark my words, the moment you stop pretending that tomorrow will fix everything, you're already losing the battle. You thought you were a king, didn't you? Well, real kings don't wait for things to fall into their lap. Real kings don't take the easy route. They fight, every day, relentlessly. And right now, you're not a king. You're a pawn. A pawn who thought he could sit back and watch the world bend to his will. You're a joke, and the world sees right through it. This isn't about winning the lottery or waiting for the stars to align. This is about survival. The world is a battlefield, and you've been acting like it's a playground. You think you have time. You think you have the luxury of taking it easy. Let me tell you something, the war is happening right now, and you're getting crushed by the weight of your own delusions. The world is cruel. It doesn't care if you feel good. It doesn't care if you're trying your best. The only thing it cares about is results. And if you're not producing them, you're irrelevant. You thought you could skate by, but guess what? Karma's hitmen don't miss. They're coming for you. And the only way to survive is to wake up, rise, and fight. This is where you make a decision. Are you going to keep pretending you're a king? Or are you going to step into reality and start fighting for your throne? Enough of the excuses. Enough of the self-pity. It's time to wake the hell up. The clock is ticking, and if you don't make a move, you're already dead. The battlefield waits for no one, and neither does your future. So get up, or don't. It's your choice. But remember, this karma doesn't care about your choices. It only cares about the consequences. You've been living a lie, and deep down you know it. It's time to rip the mask off and look at the ugly truth. Everything you've told yourself to justify your laziness, your lack of action, your endless excuses, it's all bullshit. But you've convinced yourself that it's not. You've convinced yourself that these lies are somehow real. They're not. And the sooner you admit that to yourself, the sooner you can start tearing down everything that's holding you back. It's easy to lie to yourself, isn't it? It's easy to find comfort in excuses. You tell yourself that you're waiting for the perfect time. You think, once I get this done, or when I have more money, more time, more energy, then, and only then, will you finally make a move. But when is that perfect time ever going to come? It won't. The truth is, there's never going to be a perfect time. Life doesn't give you that luxury. There's never a magical moment when everything aligns just right. You think you need the perfect conditions, the perfect environment, the perfect tools. Nah, that's your excuse. You've been hiding behind that lie, thinking it's the truth, and it's kept you stuck. You've been waiting for someone to hand you success on a silver platter, like you're some kind of entitled child. But you're not entitled to shit. Here's what you've been doing. You've been telling yourself that you're just waiting for your big break, waiting for that one opportunity to show up and save you. That's not how life works. You create your own opportunities. You don't wait for the universe to drop them in your lap. You go out there and take them. But you don't want to hear that, do you? You want to keep pretending that if you just wait a little longer, things will magically fall into place. They won't. The world isn't waiting for you to get your shit together. The world doesn't care. It keeps moving. And the longer you sit on your ass, the further you fall behind. You've convinced yourself that the problem is external, that it's the circumstances, the economy, the people around you. But the problem isn't the world. The problem is you. You've been lying to yourself about how much you actually want it. You say you want success, but your actions scream something else. If you wanted it bad enough, you'd be out there grinding every damn day. But you're not. You've been telling yourself that you've tried, but you haven't. Trying means doing. Trying means failing and getting back up and doing it again. You haven't been failing, because you haven't even been trying. You've been playing it safe. You've been hiding behind comfort, behind convenience, behind I'll start tomorrow. You've been telling yourself that you need to wait for the right moment. But the right moment is always right now. You think you need to be perfect before you can start, but guess what? Perfection doesn't exist. And if you keep waiting for it, you're going to die waiting. Your dreams, your goals, they're not going to wait for you to feel ready. They're not going to wait for your confidence to magically show up. If you want it, you have to take it. You've convinced yourself that you're too busy, too tired, too overwhelmed. You've convinced yourself that you've got too much going on, that there's no space for the grind. You keep pretending that you don't have the time. But the reality is you're just too comfortable. Your life is full of distractions, Netflix, social media, parties, drama. You waste hours of your day on things that don't move the needle forward, and then you turn around and cry about how hard your life is. You waste your energy on distractions, on things that don't matter, and then wonder why you're stuck. Stop lying. You think it's not your fault. You think you've been dealt a bad hand, that life's been unfair to you, that your situation is unique and everyone else has it easier. You see other people getting ahead and tell yourself, they're lucky, or they must have had a better start than me. And all of that is just one big fat lie. There is no luck. The people you look at and envy, they've been through the same shit you have. They've had the same struggles, the same obstacles, the same hardships. But they didn't quit. They didn't make excuses. They didn't blame the world or their circumstances. They got up, they fought, and they kept going. You're not special, and that's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? You think you deserve more. You think you're owed something. But here's the thing, the world doesn't owe you anything. The only thing you're entitled to is what you're willing to earn. And that means stopping the lies. You need to stop pretending that you're waiting for some outside force to fix your life. You are the force. You lie to yourself saying that the problem is outside of you. But the truth is, it's inside you. You've been holding yourself back. You've been telling yourself that you can't. Because you're not good enough, not smart enough, not skilled enough. But that's all bullshit. You've been afraid of failure, so you've decided that not trying is somehow safer. But let me tell you, not trying is the most dangerous thing you can do. At least if you fail, you know you've tried. You've given it your all. You've stepped into the fire. But if you don't try, if you keep making excuses, if you keep lying to yourself, you'll die with your potential still inside you, buried in a grave of wasted time and missed opportunities. Is that how you want to go out? There's no more room for excuses. You've lied to yourself long enough. You've told yourself that you'll do it tomorrow, that you're too busy, that you're too tired, that you'll start next week. Next week never comes. You've been lying to yourself for years, and it's time to stop. You can't keep hiding behind excuses, and then wonder why your life is falling apart. It's time to wake up. It's time to face the hard truth. You're the problem. You've been lying to yourself, and it's time to stop. You have everything you need to succeed, but you've been too scared to use it. So what are you going to do about it? You're at a crossroads. You can either keep lying to yourself, or you can stop, face the truth, and start the real work. There's no more time for games. No more time for waiting. The world is moving, and it's leaving you behind. So what are you going to do next? Let me give it to you straight, no more sugarcoating, no more pretending. If you want the truth, here it is. The truth that's been staring you in the face, but you've been too afraid to admit. The truth that will sting, cut deep, but will set you free if you have the guts to face it. You are not where you want to be, because of one reason and one reason only: you. Stop pointing fingers at the world, at your circumstances, or at anyone else. You are where you are because of the choices you've made. You're stuck in this pit because you've been too weak to climb out. You've been coddling your fears, your doubts, your excuses, and now they have you shackled. You've let them define you. But the truth is, they never had to. You've been living in denial, telling yourself that you're doing your best. But your best is a lie. Your best isn't enough because your best isn't real. You've been pretending. You've been showing up half-assed, giving only what's comfortable, and then you walk away expecting results. But guess what? You don't get what you deserve, you get what you earn. You've been giving yourself a free pass. The "I'll get to it tomorrow," the "I'm too tired," the "it's not that bad" bullshit. You've been feeding yourself that weak, pathetic narrative, and it's killing you. You've been telling yourself that you're not ready, that you don't have enough, that it's not the right time. You know what that is: fear. Fear disguised as logic, fear wrapped in a cloak of self-deception. So let's tear it down. The truth is, you've been running away from your own potential. You've been avoiding the battle, not because it's too hard, but because you're afraid to confront yourself. You're afraid to see what you're really made of. Because if you really looked, you'd have to face the fact that you haven't been putting in the work. You've been putting in the minimum and expecting the maximum. You've been taking shortcuts. That's not how this works. Success doesn't come to the lazy. It doesn't come to those who think they're entitled to it. Success comes to the ones who wake up every damn day and grind. Relentlessly, unapologetically. Success doesn't come to those who are waiting for a sign from the universe, waiting for some magical moment. The universe doesn't give a shit about your excuses. It's a cold, indifferent force that responds only to those who take action. You've been pretending that you're the victim. You've been walking around with that story in your head. If only I had more time. If only I had the right connections. If only my situation was different. And guess what? None of that matters. Your circumstances don't matter. Your actions do. You've been making excuses for so long that you've become comfortable with them. The I'm trying, the I'll get there, the I'm almost there is all the same a damn cop-out. You don't get points for effort. You don't get to take the easy way out. Life doesn't give a damn about how hard you try, it cares about what you deliver. Results. If you want to change your life, you need to face this reality. You're not going to be handed anything. You're not going to stumble upon success. You're not going to be some overnight success story. The people you look up to, they didn't get there by waiting around for things to happen. They fought every single day. They got their hands dirty. They sacrificed comfort, they sacrificed time. They sacrificed everything to get where they are. And guess what? They're still fighting. So stop acting like success is some gift that's going to fall into your lap. Stop waiting for some divine intervention, because it's never going to come. The only thing that's going to change your life is you. Now, let's get real about your habits. You think you're putting in the work, don't you? You think you're grinding. But you're not. You're doing just enough to make yourself feel good, to trick yourself into thinking that you're trying. But the reality is you're lazy. You're doing the bare minimum and then calling it progress. You're checking the boxes and telling yourself, I'm doing everything I can, when you know damn well that you're not. If you want to change, you need to burn that lie to the ground. You're not working hard enough. You're not grinding enough. You're not pushing yourself enough. You're playing it safe. And guess what happens when you play it safe? You stay average. You think you're putting in 100%? You're lying. You think you're giving everything you've got. You're lying to yourself. Because if you were truly giving it your all, you wouldn't be complaining. You wouldn't be wondering why things aren't moving faster. You wouldn't be sitting around waiting for the right moment. You'd be in the fight every damn day. You've been telling yourself that you're doing everything right. You've been following the steps, doing what everyone says you should do. But guess what? It's not about following steps, it's about creating your own path. The people who succeed are the ones who don't wait for permission, who don't sit around wondering if they're doing it right. They just do it. They don't look for shortcuts. They don't look for the easy way out. They look for the grind. They look for the struggle. Because they know that's where the magic happens. But you've been waiting for the magic. You've been waiting for the stars to align. And that's the most pathetic thing of all. Because the truth is, there's no magic. There's just hard work. There's just relentless effort. There's just an unshakable will to fight until there's nothing left. And if you're not willing to do that, then don't waste your time. The truth hurts, but it's the only thing that will set you free. You can keep lying to yourself, keep making excuses, keep waiting for things to get easier, but it's not going to happen. Life doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your sob story. It only cares about results. So look yourself in the mirror and face the raw truth. You're not where you want to be because you're not putting in the work. You're not where you want to be because you're too scared, too lazy, or too comfortable. And if you don't change, if you don't push past this weakness, you will remain stuck forever. It's time to face the truth. The question is, are you ready to face it? Are you ready to do what it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how uncomfortable it is? Because if you're not, then stay where you are. But if you are, then it's time to stop lying and start living. You think you have time, don't you? You think you can keep putting it off. You think you can keep telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow, and that somehow things will magically get better. But here's the harsh truth, you don't have time. Every second you waste, every excuse you make, every moment you hesitate, is a second you'll never get back. And with each one, you're sinking deeper into mediocrity. You think you can afford to be weak. You think you can afford to delay, to backslide, to coast along and still somehow reach the top. Let me tell you something, you're wrong. Weakness isn't just some minor flaw. It's a cancer. It eats away at you. It erodes your character, your resolve, your entire future. And you know what? Weakness doesn't just hurt you, it destroys everything around you. Every time you allow yourself to slip, every time you take your foot off the gas, you're not just failing yourself. You're failing everyone who's watching. The people who believe in you, the ones who look up to you, the ones who are silently hoping you'll be the example they need. You're letting them down. And what's worse, you're letting yourself down. You can keep pretending that it's okay to be comfortable, that it's okay to settle for less than your best. You can keep acting like the grind isn't for you, that you're too special for this struggle. But guess what? The world doesn't care. The world isn't going to wait for you to catch up. It's not going to slow down for your comfort. If you refuse to rise, if you refuse to put in the work, the world will pass you by. And what happens when the world passes you by? You get left behind. You think you're immune to failure, don't you? You think that you can keep lying to yourself and it won't matter. But let me make one thing clear, failure is coming for you. It doesn't matter how many excuses you have. It doesn't matter how many times you tell yourself, I'm doing my best. If you're not giving 100%, if you're not fighting tooth and nail every single day, you're going to crash. And when you do, don't think for a second that life's going to have any sympathy. Failure will not be kind. It will not be gentle. Failure doesn't care about your feelings, your excuses, or your reasons. It will strip you of everything. Everything. And when you're lying on the ground, looking up at what could have been, all that will be left is the haunting realization that you could have done more. You should have done more. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that you're not just facing failure. You're facing regret. And that, my friend, is a fate far worse than failure itself. Failure gives you a chance to rise again. Regret, though, doesn't give you that luxury. Once the time has passed, once the opportunities are gone, they're gone forever. And all that will remain is that bitter, gnawing feeling that you wasted it all. What do you think happens when you sit back? When you let weakness control your actions? When you make excuses and waste time? You die a slow, painful death. It's not a physical death, it's a death of your spirit. A death of your potential. A death of your dreams. And the worst part, you'll never even know when it happened. It'll be so gradual, so subtle, that one day you'll wake up and realize that you're nothing more than a shell of the person you could have been. You might think that this doesn't apply to you, that somehow you're different, that you can keep cruising and things will just work out. But let me make this clear, you're not special. You're not exempt from the laws of this world. If you don't put in the work, if you don't step up, you will be left behind. When you waste time, you're not just wasting it for yourself. You're wasting it for your family, your friends, your loved ones, the people who depend on you to show them what's possible. You're wasting it for every single person who believes in you. And if you continue down this path of weakness, if you continue to feed yourself lies, if you continue to avoid the struggle, you're not just destroying your own future, you're destroying the future of everyone who looks to you as an example. And you know what? You might think you'll get a second chance. You might think there will be another day, another opportunity, another shot at success. But you're wrong. Life doesn't hand out second chances like candy. There is no do-over. There is no restart. When you miss the opportunity, when you let time slip through your fingers, that's it. You're not going to get the chance to go back. Time is unforgiving. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day distractions. It's easy to tell yourself that you'll do it later. It's easy to think that there's always a tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. You've been putting things off for so long that you've convinced yourself that there's no need to take action today. But the reality is, every time you don't take action, you're walking a little further into the abyss. Every second you waste is a step closer to regret. Think about where you could be if you stopped wasting time. Think about the possibilities if you started grinding now. Think about the things you could accomplish if you didn't let weakness control you, if you didn't let fear stop you, if you didn't let your excuses dictate your actions. You could change your life, but you won't. Not unless you break free from this cycle of weakness. Not unless you stop telling yourself that it's okay to be average. Not unless you stop pretending that comfort and convenience are more important than the work that needs to be done. So let me ask you, what's the price of inaction? What's the cost of giving up, of quitting on yourself, of hiding from the grind? The cost is your future. The cost is your dreams. The cost is the life you could have had. And that price, it's too high. It's far too high. You're not going to get another shot at this. If you waste this opportunity, if you waste today, you will never get it back. The clock is ticking, and every second you waste is a second that's gone forever. So what are you going to do? Are you going to keep making excuses? Are you going to keep pretending that everything's fine? Or are you going to face the harsh truth and get to work? The choice is yours. But make no mistake, the consequences of weakness are real, and they are unforgiving. If you choose to stay weak, if you choose to waste time, then be prepared for what's coming. Because the price you pay for weakness is a lifetime of regret. And that's something you will never escape. Enough of the excuses. Enough of the weakness. Enough of sitting on the sidelines and pretending you're doing everything you can. Enough of letting life dictate your terms. It's time for you to rise. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is the point where everything changes. But it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen because you hope for it, or wish for it, or dream about it while you sleep. It happens because you decide. It happens because you act. It happens because you rise to the challenge. It's time to stop pretending you're powerless. It's time to stop blaming others for your failures. It's time to stop thinking that the world owes you anything. The world doesn't owe you a damn thing. The universe doesn't care about your sob stories, your setbacks, or your hard luck. It only cares about one thing: what you do about it. If you're waiting for a sign to change, this is it. The sign is in the mirror. The sign is in the fire burning in your chest right now. The sign is the feeling that's crawling up your spine, whispering to you that you're done living in fear, done playing small, done being weak. You have all the power you need inside you to transform your life. But it's going to take everything. It's going to take every ounce of fight in you, every shred of willpower, every bit of sweat and blood and grit. You have to make a decision right now. Do you want to stay weak? Do you want to keep sinking deeper into mediocrity? Keep watching others pass you by? Keep convincing yourself that tomorrow will be the day? Or are you ready to rise? Are you ready to take what's yours, to claim your future, to step into the warrior mindset that will never ever back down? Because let me make one thing clear: if you want to rise, you can. You can do it, but only if you stop holding yourself back. Only if you stop with the excuses, stop pretending you don't have what it takes. Stop sitting there paralyzed by fear, wondering if you're good enough. You are. You always were. The people who rise above, the people who become legends, they're not the ones who wait for permission. They're not the ones who ask for validation. They don't need anyone's approval because they know exactly who they are. They know exactly what they're made of. They've already decided. And you know what? You have that same power. The choice is yours. The power is in your hands. But you have to seize it. And you have to be willing to fight for it. The battle won't be easy. It won't be pretty. It's going to be messy. It's going to test your limits. It's going to challenge you in ways you can't even imagine. But you know what? That's the point. The battle is where you find who you really are. The struggle is where the real transformation happens. You have to understand something right now. The person you are today is not the person you're going to be tomorrow. Not if you choose to rise. Not if you choose to put in the work. Not if you choose to embrace the grind, the sacrifice, the pain, the discomfort, the struggle. Because every bit of that is a stepping stone to greatness. Every drop of sweat, every sacrifice, every battle you fight will take you closer to becoming the person you were always meant to be. This isn't about tomorrow. It's about right now. Right now. You have the power to change your life in this moment. You have the power to rise from the ashes of your old self and step into the warrior you were born to be. But it's going to take everything. You cannot hesitate. You cannot afford to wait another second. The longer you wait, the weaker you become. The longer you sit on the sidelines, the more of your potential you waste. The longer you tell yourself that tomorrow is the day, the more you destroy your own future. Get up. Get off your ass. Get out of your comfort zone and into the fire. Step into the fight. The war for your future has already begun, and it's time for you to get in the game. Every day you waste is a day you'll never get back. Every minute you delay is a minute lost forever. If you want to rise, then you better start now, not tomorrow. Now, do you feel that? That pressure building inside of you, that desire to push past the pain, to break the chains that have been holding you back. That's your potential. That's the person you could be if you stop being afraid. That's the version of yourself you've been hiding from all this time. And it's waiting for you. It's calling for you to wake up, to step forward, to rise. You've been told your whole life that it's not going to be easy. You've been told that success is for the lucky, the gifted, the chosen ones. But here's the truth: success is for those who choose it. Success is for those who decide to put in the work, who decide to get their hands dirty, who decide to burn every bridge behind them and never look back. Success is for the warriors, for the fighters, for the ones who rise. And if you're ready to rise, then understand this: you will never be the same again. The person you were yesterday will die. The person who was afraid, who made excuses, who backed down, that person is gone. The new you, the one who steps into the fire, who embraces the struggle, who refuses to quit, that person is born. And once you rise, there's no going back. Because once you know what it feels like to fight, to bleed, to sacrifice, to win, you'll never accept anything less. You'll never go back to the old you. You'll never settle for mediocrity. You'll never let weakness control you again. It's time for you to rise, now, right now. You can do it. You can transform your life. But only if you stop waiting. Stop asking for permission. Stop asking for a break. The world owes you nothing. You owe it to yourself to rise. The time is now. So what's it going to be? Are you going to rise? Or are you going to let weakness continue to rule your life? The choice is yours. Get in the fight. Get in the game. And rise. Enough. Enough of the talk. Enough of the waiting. Enough of the excuses. This is the final moment. The last chance. You've heard everything you need to hear. The war is here. The battle for your future is already being fought. It's time to make a decision. There's no more room for hesitation. No more time for second guessing. You've been given the truth raw, brutal, and unfiltered. Now you've got one choice left. You rise or you fall. There is no in between. There's no neutral ground. The battlefield doesn't care about your comfort or your doubts. The world doesn't care whether or not you're ready. It only cares about what you do. So I'm telling you right now, get moving. Get up from the mess you've been lying in. Get up from the swamp of excuses, fear, and laziness. Stand up. The road is open before you, but only if you have the guts to walk it. You can keep playing the victim, or you can stop pretending that life is happening to you. Life is happening because of you. Now don't you dare take another second to wonder what you're going to do. You know exactly what you need to do. You've heard the call. You've felt the fire stirring inside you. And you've seen the consequences of staying weak. You've seen the destruction. Now it's time to take control. To make the decision that will define your future. You are not a spectator in your own life. You are not some passive observer waiting for someone else to decide your fate. You are the one in charge. And right now, the power to change everything lies in your hands. The power to break free from the chains of your own limitations. The power to shatter the walls you've built around yourself. The power to rise above your circumstances. It's all yours. But it won't be handed to you. You have to take it. There's no magic solution. There's no shortcut to success. There's no special favor waiting for you. There's only hard work. There's only the fight. There's only the fire you choose to carry with you every single day. And that fire is what will push you forward when you don't feel like it. It will drag you out of the darkness, push you through the pain, and show you that you are stronger than anything life can throw at you. But you have to choose it. You have to decide that you are unbreakable, that nothing will stop you, that no failure, no setback, no disappointment will keep you from taking that next step. Because this journey doesn't end until you say it does. The battle isn't over until you declare victory. So I'm telling you now, declare your victory. Take your first step. Take the step toward the life you know you deserve. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's time. It's time. You've been given the tools. You've been given the blueprint. You've been shown the way. Now act. This isn't just about you. This is about everyone around you. This is about the people who are waiting for you to lead. This is about the people who will rise when they see you stand tall. This is about the legacy you're going to leave behind. And every second you waste, every second you hesitate, you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting them down too. The fight starts now. There is no waiting for tomorrow. There is no next week. There is only today. There is only this moment. And if you don't act now, you'll never get this moment back. The question isn't whether or not you can rise. The question is whether or not you will. And let me be clear, there are no excuses. There are no more reasons to hold back. There is no more room for weakness. You've heard the truth. Now it's time to face it. So get up. Get to work. Don't stop. Don't look back. Don't waste another second. Because the time is now. The fight is yours to win. The future is yours to claim. Rise or fall. The choice is yours. The command is given. And the world will know what you choose.